I get it.
Mbijan raganya.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la.
Ha, code nyingi.
Okay. What's that? Nsila ID soto.
That's sorry. I get it.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariya.
Mbare.
Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariya.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong labe no.
56 branches mola soto Gambia ja.
Ha?
Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol. Nko kodo kiya bere. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta même na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannom number 1 ti nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi man domorol dir fana beteata. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat.
Apelenta
baraka. Ni ma lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bukani la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Baraka.
Gamcell data, now even better. Enjoy 20% extra data on all Gamcell data bundles. Buy 20 megabytes and get extra 4 megabytes. Buy 50 megabytes and get extra 10 megabytes. Buy 100 megabytes and get extra 20 megabytes. Any amount of Gamcell data bundle you buy, you will receive 20% extra data for free. Dial *302* data amount hash or go to your Yaiborom menu and choose your data bundle now. Gamcell data, it's fast, lasts longer and very reliable. Gamcell Yaiborom.
Alright.
Honey, did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But don't you know about Baluwo?
Baluwo? What is Baluwo?
Baluwo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baluwo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluwo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baluwo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria or Mali. Baluwo, better than sending money.
For the first time in the history of the Gambia Printing Publishing Corporation proudly introduces the Biliomatic exercise book printing machine. The machine has the capacity to print more than 20,000 books per hour. Yes, 20,000 books per hour. It also prints magazines, newspapers, calendars, flyers, normal books and all kinds of printed documents plus items at affordable prices. With the Biliomatic printing machine, GPPC can now render high-quality and non-size restricted printing service supply across the sub-region. Rush now and partner with GPPC for all your public and private printing service needs. Print with us today and you'd be offered highly professional, reliable and efficient service delivery by our team of experts. The Gambia Printing and Publishing Corporation is here to meet all demands and is reliable at all times. For more info, contact us on 437-4493 or 437-4402. GPPC is Gambian and it's yours.
Welcome to the brunch on Fatou Live. I am Garba Cham, your current affairs program that comes your way every Saturday. We are back today to take a look at two main important topics. We will go to the National Assembly to update ourselves with the bills that have been tabled or about to be tabled. And we discussed some of them and what their implications might be for the life of the average Gambian. We will also talk about the growing homicide cases in the Gambia. Last week we were here with the police PRO who blamed, according to her, of course, the prevalence of prohibited substance, perhaps he said, is one thing that is driving young people to engage in violence that has resulted in at least nearly half a dozen deaths in the course of this month alone. Now, with me in the studio to do justice to these topics and other things is Garba Cham. He is the president of the Gambia Workers Union. And I have Sait Matty, political science lecturer and activist, and Sanneh, Kexx, who I describe as a very versatile political and environmental, and you have an activist, I will say. Thank you very much, Kexx, Mr. Cham, and Sait, welcome. Now, let's go to the National Assembly first, because we have been we've heard from the President in his State of the Nation address. And in this session, even before that, we had about bills that have been tabled or will be tabled. And the Assembly also announced that they will be, readmitting some of the remaining bills that were supposed to have been dealt with in the last legislature. That was good news to everybody, because among them is the much talked about anti-corruption bill. We will discuss that too. But first, let's go to Kexx. Let me begin by asking you, Mr. Cham here will be interested very much in about laws that are coming up or have come up dealing with labor. But take us through, how many bills so far have been presented in this legislature?
Yeah, so far there's no yet a bill. They have an intention, because intention to bring bills before the National Assembly for enactment. But so far they didn't present anything that is before the Parliament, because when it comes before the plenary, we consider it been tabled when the minister. But they have intention of bills like the victim bill, compensation bill. They have the election, the electoral reform. That's the election amendment of the election bill. They have an intention to bring it before the National Assembly. Even the anti-corruption bill they have, because it's already been thrown away from the National Assembly by an action of the National Assembly to discipline the Minister of Justice, who was summoned to come before the Parliament, and he refused to come. So all the bills that he tabled before the National Assembly, they were 7. All of them were thrown back to him for it to start refresh. And some of them went up to the final stage of almost being passed as law, but they have to start afresh. So meaning that there are no bill now before the Parliament. So all these things are bills that they intend to bring it before the Parliament. But the Speaker last week or week before last, 2 weeks, gave that all the bills that were pending for the 5th legislation will be brought back to the Parliament, depending on the person who tabled the bill is willing to still bring the bill back to the Parliament.
Did the Minister of Justice show any intention to bring back those bills that have been thrown out because of his continued absence?
Yeah, actually, he made it very clear to the Parliament during their question and answer session that there are laws. When he was asked regarding about even the high rate of rates that are coming into this country in terms of how the tenants are charging people in regards. So he said they have an intention to review the Rent Act 2004, and they have the intention even in terms of how labor is, because when they ask him in regard the young people, the lack of unemployment in this country, how the government intend to address this problem that is encountering our young people, and it's putting them into abuse of drugs, or they are loitering in the street. He said they have an intention to bring a labor amendment to amend the labor act, so that it can be confined or fine-tuned with the realities of the country. They have an intention of doing that, and how people hire labor, and that's they will also look into that, and even forceful, where you force people to go into labor and you don't pay them based on the service that they render. These are all bills that they intend to bring it. Even the mutual assistance bill, whereby they will have a mutual legal assistance, whereby they need legal assistance from outside the Gambia, or somebody needs, so that they can exchange some legal advice in terms of, and even international crimes, so that they can be like what we call international criminal crimes. These are laws that we didn't annex them, so they want it to annex, knowing that the TRRC Commission, there are certain things that are crime against humanity, and Gambia, our laws doesn't confine them to be tried here. So you must annex a law that will empower you to try such crimes in this country. So they want to bring what we call the international crime bill before the National Assembly, so that they can charge anybody for genocide, crime against humanity, and other things, and they can even transfer it if they feel like they can, or ICC if it is beyond their mandate. But since we don't have the law, there will be no legal framework or legal ground where they can transfer such matters. So they must put that before the National.
They're talking about that bill.
They are talking about that bill too, that will come before the National Assembly. And they also talk about this very interesting bill. That's the nationality of the Gambians, in terms of still now we have a problem in terms of identifying
who is a
citizen of this country. So they want to enact a bill that will clearly define who is a citizen of this country, and how do one have a citizenship by natural.
Do you have any insight into as to what the bill will now categorize or determine a citizen? Currently, what we have is that if you are you may even be born here and still not be a
citizens of this country. So they want to look at the whole issue. Is it logic, but the bill is yet before the parliament, so you don't know what is the objective of the bill and what does it intend to remedy, because when you bring bills, you have an intention what it's intend to remedy.
Do you think it will be one of the most contentious bills?
Indeed, it's going to be, because in terms
it may have political
connotation in terms of it, and we know, in this country, when it talks about nationality, people start, even this health insurance, people are saying they are registering in terms of elections and all that. So when you talk about citizenship, it's a very serious issue that people.
So that bill also is expected.
It's expected. So they also intend to amend the Labour Act, because since its enactment, it has never been amended. And if you look at the realities of the ground now, the world has evolved in terms of how rights of workers are, the relationship between employer and employee relationship, how contracts are, the working time, what are overtimes, in this course. So all these things are issues that before and now, the reality now, people has to work for 8 hours, and the law is telling you that if you work for more than 8 hours, any hour that is added must be calculated 2 times overtime, but it has to be double. If you work for 1 hour, you should be paid for 2 hours.
2 hours, yes.
So all these things has to captured in our laws and other things.
Well, perhaps that will be a very let's take it take the Labour one spread and involve Mr. Garba Cham, Secretary General of the.
So and the same thing, forced labor too is there, that should come before the parliament, because in a scenario whereby somebody might be on your custody, you force the person to go into labor activities, like we normally hear them when people are captured in some police custodies, they are forced to do forced labor, when actually these are things. So they want to amend a law that will make sure that if you force somebody into a labor without the consent, you committed a crime against this country, and the bill will explain what will be the punishment, what will be the fines, what will be the mandatory sentence. So it has to deal with that. Or even a maid in your house, she's not willing to do this, or your child, he or she didn't want to do, you force him to labor by punishing him, to do some domestic work that he or she is not willing to do it. So they want to put a law in place that will ban any forced labor in this country. So these are things that are also expected to come before the parliament. And also what we call the prevention and prohibition of torture bill. These are bills that should come before the parliament. These are issues like a scenario, even you catch a thief in your house, you torture him by punishing him either by using a plastic bag, just put a fire on it, any mob justice. They want to make a bill that will prohibit any torture and in any form, either from the police custody to our houses to any sector of the society. You have no right to torture any individual, even he or she has committed committed any crime against the law or the police. So these are bills that they intend to bring it to the parliament, and the international crime, I told you already about that. This bill for it to be in line with the Rome status of all these legal frameworks are intention that they intend to bring. So far these are the things that we believe are the things that should be expected to come before the parliament. But some has already passed, like the anti-corruption bill. We were able to see some of the punishments, what does it intend to remedy in terms of how do you qualify something has corruption, and when the person does it, what are the punishment? All these things went up to it, because the bill went from the first reading to the second reading to the third reading. So what was left there, it's for to the committee stage. So what was left there was for the third reading for it to pass into law and assented by the president, and it becomes a law. Then there's this problem between the parliament and the minister of justice. Then they throw away all the bills that were brought up by him, and it means that, and their order or the judgment that the parliament made was that it has to start afresh, meaning that you have to start from first reading, you have to first gazette it.
I think there's another departure point. Let me maybe specifically come to deal with labor laws. Say you had all the intention that the bills that are intended or expected in the National Assembly. I'm sure you will be interested in the anti-corruption bill, which was actually among the bills that the minister should have presented, but they were all thrown out because he did not come to parliament and did not give a genuine excuse. I think for how many occasions?
No, it's only he was summoned and he was not in town according to him, and he said he received the letter when he already left.
Yeah, and he apologized.
He apologized, but the parliament wanted to show their authority.
Yes.
And decided to set a sample.
Okay. All right. So, who is to blame if there are delays in these bills and other kind of deals?
Well, I mean,
but of course he apologized. It was noted that.
Yes. For me now, I think they have passed the stage now, and now I think with the recent ruling by the speaker that bills that were stalled before, they could be reintroduced. For me, I think they have even addressed that that issue, and this is where we are, because I think I remember attending one of the anti-corruption meeting that was organized by Gambia Participate, and our biggest concern was how do we move away from this told me that of course previous parliaments, I think that's generally the law, that the decisions of the previous parliaments are not binding on the new one, or those kind of
that was first said, but then now like you said, the speaker announced that they are going to readmit all the elections.
Yes. So for me now, I think where we are now is the readmission process. I'm very much interested in how is it going to be done again. Is it going to start from fresh, or are they going to continue based on the report that have already been generated, that this new parliament will have to offer themselves, get to understand.
Because already the minister has started talking about a delay in the victim compensation bill, for example. He said that's expected this year, but it cannot be, it has to be next year, even though the government is doing everything to start the compensating victims. So that kind of things like that can be expected of other bills, including the anti-corruption bill.
So for me now, I think we're still learning in terms of parliamentary procedures, in terms of making it to address some of the gaps, because these are gaps, these are challenges. Like of course, the conversation is not about how long again that the bill has been in parliament, but now that the bill has been in parliament for some time and it was not passed, and now it's time to move to the next step. And I think how they're going to address that, for me, I think that has been found, and so the next step is how soon do we have to get the bill in parliament, and what the next steps should be. But of course the victims bills, for me, I think is very needed, because then is one of the strategies in which government has to show how they're going to implement the reparation aspect of the TRRC, because I think whether we know it or not, that is the most controversial, or should be one of the most controversial issue. And I think even recently with this current budget there was some money allocated, but
155 million. That's what it was.
155 million. But then now
the modalities, because
so now they have to wait until
the are not happy with the the compensation guidelines given by the TRRC. They said that was structures are too little. So what the minister said they are consulting with the victims, but it will be interesting to know what sort of guidelines will come to do this competition?
For me, I'm very much interested in what the bill is going to do, because they're talking about establishing an independent institution. I mean, for me personally,
that
if you
will
ask me,
inherit
for me, if you ask me personally, I would say that might not be needed. Why not just create an office on the National Human Rights Commission? I mean, or somewhere. And it's because the issue of, reparation is about payment and how long are we going to pay. So I think for me, the question should be, what is the easiest way to deal with this?
You think the fastest way would have been open an office at human rights?
Let that continue, because then if you establish an office, there's going to be extra costs.
Commissioners.
So sometimes, for me, I feel like there should be easier, but maybe they also have a broader,
broader. But then, it makes sense what you said. Before you contemplate, already they have spent a lot of money in consultations for this bill. They've been everywhere and talking about it. And you are right, when the commission that commission has to be paid at least one way or the thing. They have to
so sometimes we need to see how best we can cut costs. What things existing institutions could be used, and then maybe they be amended to a certain extent. But of course, this is about reparation, and if reparation has to also go beyond, some of us are expecting monetary aspect, but it's going to be beyond that. And of course, they have to do sort of further investigate, because I think they are considering even people that have not appeared before.
That's what they said.
And so there's a lot of things that need to be discussed. But of course, I'm sure when the bill is drafted, it will be shared, and people
I think the good thing is government is saying they wouldn't wait for the bill now. They will start
disbursing.
Yes, that's what he said.
But the question is whether they have that money from the budget, because at the end of the day, too.
Well, they said they have 155 million to start with. Then they will go for their partners to look for more
funds.
Usually reparation is, we need to take care of that. Because it's the state that was responsible for the violation. So the state, and we are part of the state. If we have to collect.
But what about this other bill? Another bill that's expected, like the citizenship bill?
I think for that one, it's definitely going to be controversial. But for me, my position has always been, people that are born here should be citizens. That's my position. But some people have a different opinion, and I think what needs to be, I'm not sure whether that's exactly what the bill is going to be about, but then we need to have a debate about this, because at the end of the day, issue of citizenship now is controversial, and people need to discuss that. So for me, I think there's a need to clarify. There's a need to clarify, because also yesterday I saw that in Ghana it's the same thing. Our citizenship law is basically just like a colonial law that also we need to revise, because if we are talking about a sovereign country, what is wrong with people coming in being citizens? People are moving, they are naturalizing, even dropping Gambian citizenship, joining other. The world is as flexible as that. So a country's citizenships also, to an extent, should be as flexible as that. And for me, that's what I think. That
why do you think people are always protective when it comes to citizenship?
Some argue on population size. If we allow it, everybody will come, then the country will not be able to have enough resources to take care of that. I'm saying, as small as we are complaining that we don't have enough resources. But perhaps, for me, when we have, I like multiculturalism. People coming from different areas where we are mixing and learning what the world is about. For me, I think I see it from more of that, but people will
I think much of the controversies and disagreements actually centered not particularly whether if somebody is born here, that person should be citizen. I think many people agree that that's reasonably that's a reasonable suggestion. But then what the politicians particularly are always at loggerheads with is, you see somebody who's definitely born in Senegal, he's been here for 2-3 years, and you automatically give him citizen documentation for political reasons. I think these are
that also is part of it. But you see, this is the problem with the politicians. If the law says this is it, we need to follow the law.
Absolutely.
But then of course some people will want to,
politicians are always
and they want sometimes that create all these different problems where it's supposed not to be necessary, because they they're always looking for the one vote. And sometimes that's why I said, if you're not a citizen of a country, I mean, there are procedures and processes that are also set. I think we also need to teach people that want to become citizens as based on our current laws, that these are the process that you need to follow. Just don't wait for a politician to come and say, if you Sanneh will give you citizenship. I mean, you're cheating. And at some point, if people have to review, you're going to be at loggerhead. So the best way is just to follow the procedure as currently established. But of course, I mean, who doesn't want to have, I mean, free access, free health to many things? But the problem is the politicians, especially those that engage in this, and mostly in some cases, it's always the ruling kind of party that engages in this kind of nonsense.
So that's why the bill can be expected to be contentious.
Yes,
because
it will be contentious.
The opposition recognize or suspect any political intention there, they will certainly.
Yeah, but then if you look at also the CRC when they were doing their constitutional review, we see that majority of Gambians want citizenship by birth. Because it is easier to control, it is direct, it is, I mean, you know, at least that if your parents are not even Gambian, you're born here, you're Gambian.
You are Gambian. I mean, that is the common sense. That is common sense.
It's common sense. So
what about the labor laws? You talk about, because they are colonial labor laws we're still using now. People don't have a voice when it comes to between employee and employer. Particularly, I see a lot of people complain about foreign investors. Allegedly, they exploit, our citizens by not paying them very well. And they will say, "Oh, how much does your government pay you anyway? I'm paying you a little more than that." But then you made him to work harder. So what should be done about it? I'm going to Garba, but then what do you make of the?
For me, I think the right. I mean, labor should be is nyahala. Is nyahala, and labor should be respected.
Compensate. It should be proportionate.
It should be respected, and it should be rewarded the same way, because people that are using their labor, they are also helping you to develop, to make profit. But our problem, like you said, we have all this, and that's why I'm so happy. One, that the parliament now is autonomous in a sense that now they are in charge of most of the things that they're supposed to do. They have total control. There's we can see that legally there is a total separation between the executive and parliament. And so therefore it is important that we also utilize the parliament to advocate for certain good laws. And so I think therefore, I mean, that's a very important bill, because we are all workers at the end of the day. And it's not about only those that are in the workers union, because of course, but all of us, we need conducive laws, we need a conducive environment where we can we can express our trade. And I think for me that is why it is important. And usually you see people talking about exploitation everywhere, and how do we address those issues? Why is it that we are enriching few people, and then and I know they are my comrades, so we on the left, we want the rights of workers to be very visible, but so far I think in Gambia also we need more organizing. We need more organizing to ensure that the bill and even talking about minimum wage. Why is it that we don't discuss the issue of minimum wage? I mean,
Garba is the expert on that. Garba, so far, Kexx has outlined the intent of the bills that are coming with the government.
I think number one, the labor bill is part of it, because I can say we advocated for the review
of it,
of the Labor Act 1990.
Specifically, what are the problematic areas?
Because of one thing is that there are 8 core ILO conventions which we are ratified
by the Gambia.
Since 1995.
95.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but they were not domesticated in full. They were haphazardly domesticated.
Okay.
You understand? Remember, since 1995.
We're talking about 26.
This Labor Act is 2007. So they failed to domesticate it in full, because still, if you go by the Labor Act, civil servants, domestic servants are not allowed to form or belong to trade unions.
To form?
Form or belong to trade unions.
That is civil servants.
Yes.
Gambia government employees.
Yes.
That's it.
You understand?
Yeah.
And who is not a worker, as he rightly said?
Yeah.
The president is the chief worker.
Worker.
What about the rest? As far as you deliver service, you get paid, and you are pensionable, you are a worker.
So it's normally the government who doesn't want government employees to be in the union.
It's what we believe.
And if they try to belong, they sack them.
There's no law for them to
belong.
There's no law for them. They cannot go.
Thank you very much. They are not even covered by the Labour Act.
I see.
And according to the Convention 87 and 98, civil servants should belong from trade unions and domestic servants as well, except the army.
Yes.
When you say domestic servants, you mean maids, cleaners?
Yes. Even watchmen and others.
So do you mean they are not covered?
No, they are not covered by the Labour Act. That's why I come with it.
I see.
In case when you need reference,
Okay.
You see? So you cannot ratify the convention by domesticating it. It's only in the Gambia now where civil servants are not members of unions or from the
throughout West
all
Africa.
over the world.
I see, but that's crazy.
Yes, in Senegal, you always see teachers are on.
Yes, teachers are on.
But they are civil servants.
But teachers,
a sector, nurses, doctors, a sector.
I see.
You see, even these nurses here, they are not allowed even to belong to it. Although they institute like what, even if government wants, they can use the law.
You mean the government could have even
used the law?
Could have even punished them by merely
using the Labour Act.
I see. Yeah.
You see?
I see.
So these are our concerns.
I see.
That is one aspect. That is to domesticate the ratified conventions in full. The First Labour Convention should not even be a bill. The First Labour Convention was part of the ILO conventions that we ratified in 1995, including child labour, most forms of child labour, and all these things, minimum age, and many other 8 conventions, labour administrations, collective bargaining, the right to organize, freedom of association conventions, and is where they are covered, these civil servants, freedom of association convention 87, which is equally in line with the United Nations.
So are you excited about the proposed law amendments that's been about the table in Parliament?
Yes, because we advocated for it, and we are part and parcel of
the consultation.
Consultations, and we make our recommendations. But yet still, in fact, we were saying that before they pass the bill, we want to see it again.
The draft again?
Yes, we want to see it again. Even just recently, we have a board meeting, Labour Advisory Board meeting, which we are still concerned to see it again.
I see. Before it is.
In order to scrutinize whether our recommendations.
Are you hopeful of any chance of seeing the draft before it goes?
The draft?
Yeah, the drafters
after the
authorities.
Yes, after the validation.
Yeah.
We did not see it anymore.
You didn't see it anymore?
Until when it goes to Parliament. We are just hearing it. But we wanted to see it, scrutinized.
Whether what has been validated is what
is there. Because it has happened to us. When we reviewed the labor law, which was here since colonial days, Cap 100. It was replaced by Cap 5601 of the laws of the Gambia. That is the 1990 Labour Act. Replaced the colonial labor law, Cap 100. But the recommendations that we recommended at the time were not captured in the 1990 Labour Act. You understand? So we were avoiding the same thing to happen to the new Labour Bill. That's why we wanted to see it. In fact, we said that we are going to talk to the minister, line minister.
Yeah. And in fact, there is no minister in this bill. How do you feel about it? There is no trade minister.
Well, yes, there is no trade minister, and at the same time, I think the permanent secretary is taking responsibility and still being overseen by the former minister who is now the Minister of Finance. But we learned that someone has been appointed, and he is.
Where is that part? We have never.
They said he's at.
You know anybody?
He's working somewhere.
You seem to know more than we.
But now,
who is he? Is he a he or she?
Is she?
Is she?
And yes, to my information.
You
is she?
Okay.
All right. So she is working on her notice.
You have a very good advantage now. You know.
You know, to.
Do you know how it passes? You know the person.
Well, anyway, there is a name.
A name has been bandied around.
So this is the situation.
I see.
So you see, the forced labor bill should be incorporated into the Labor Act because it's about labor. But having different labor laws or policy here and there will not help.
Okay.
We need to harmonize it. You see. Okay. So if they are going to do that, for whatever the case may be, for us we will make sure we talk to our sympathizers. We have lots of parliamentarian sympathizers. You see, we'll talk to them to kick against the bill.
Okay.
And they will do so. That I am sure.
Well, I'm very much interested in the main one.
Okay.
Domestic workers.
Yes.
I mean, I think when they allow, what are the advantages and disadvantages, especially when they're allowed to organize? Because, this one now is within the domestic, and now people like us, we have to bear the issue. I think in Uganda it created a lot of, tension. But how do we, the intention?
Well, you see,
I want to believe that a worker is a worker.
That is a convention.
Yeah.
And if we go by that international convention, the guidelines of the international convention, that confusion will not arise.
Okay.
Because you will consider your purchasing power, the purchasing power here in the Gambia. Okay, and then the other thing is if you hire a domestic worker and supposed to contribute for her, pension scheme, and already, it might bring a problem like Uganda and other countries. But because they don't go by the guidelines of the convention, because conventions you will pick what suits your own reality.
Context,
yes, and then put that in place.
Okay.
And when you do so, make sure before making it a law, you consult with all stakeholders, and at the same time sensitize the masses.
I see.
Because stakeholders, we just represent the masses. We don't have all the answers for the masses.
The solutions,
So let's engage on media sensitization and contributions, from the masses.
And put pressure on the people who ultimately make the laws.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then from there we can build consensus, which will, which will anyway help all of us.
Good.
Let's go back to a conducive work environment.
Yeah.
Okay, we go back to Kexx again. Recently, there have been I particularly took away from recent ones is the sale of President Jammeh's assets. I mean, since this Janneh Commission wrapped up, there have always been questions as to how much is left. And of course, I think there was a decision to stop the sales for the time being. And there were talk about new investigations that discovered more properties. What did the minister say?
Yeah, actually, he was asked in regards to, we all know after the Janneh Commission, there were recommendations in regards to the properties that actually claim to be Jammeh's property, but obtained either not through the legal way, some were forced, to evict their properties, and Jammeh actually take full control of them. Some were government properties that Jammeh transferred them into his personal belongings. And decided. So when the commission came a recommendation, for all some of investigation to be done and government to take control of all those properties. So when government did their white paper, they came with a white paper that they were almost going to implement almost 95% of the whole recommendation of the Janneh Commission. Only few were not actually, but almost 95% of the Janneh Commission recommendation were adopted and accepted by the government. So they went to the investigation to identify, and according to the minister, they have identified 42 properties at the time of reporting to the parliament, the time the question was
sent. But the Janneh Commission said 182 final
landed properties. Landed properties, but he said they are investigating because sometimes 45 at the time the question was sent to the parliament. But even today, the day he was in parliament, that there are new recoveries because sometimes Janneh Commission might feel like this is not Jammeh, but through their investigation they found out that this is through business between him and Baba Job or between him and some individual, so they might feel like these are legal properties that he obtained. So sometimes they don't touch those things. But yes, so this is why they came with some of the list of things that they feel like they were actually obtained, not the ones
how many of them have been sold?
Almost 32 has been sold.
45 days.
32. Some are kept for government uses, like the Abuko Batuar, the Wadna Garden, where the militaries are actually the Wadna base, and where do we have again? There's this Kanilai bakery that is actually around Karava Avenue. And some actually they still, the moment the government take over, another individual will come and this storage building.
Yes, that used to belong to Baba.
Baba Job, so Jam actually took it from
Not
Jam.
only that, there's the property everywhere.
Even the officers' mess that is here.
And even this taxi park that
so all
belong to Baba.
So the family of Baba Job actually contesting that they are the father legally owns this country.
Baba's family said when this initially belonged to us, they forcibly took
it from.
So the minister said they're going to handle that.
So actually they are looking at maybe the documentation, how the whole the legal issue of that land and everything. So I think they will advise themselves to see, but he is definitely willing, if things that are proof beyond reasonable doubt that actually these are not properties of Jammeh, but they were forcefully taken from the rightful owner, they will definitely make sure that they return all these things. So this has been there, but they still promise the national there are more revelation coming, the things that they don't know. Like in a scenario by when Jammeh left, people just trust know that this is Jammeh property, but they are custodian of the documents. They just went and changed it to their individual names, and all these things. So investigation revealed that all these things are issues that are happening. So they are trying to.
Did he talk about the proceeds of this from the sales? He wasn't asked about.
Yeah, actually, he was actually asked how much by Alaji S. Dabo of Brikama. He said actually, he didn't have the clap because that was not part of the question. Was actually what we had.
Former minister said $200 million was collected from the sales and been kept somewhere. Did anybody ask about that?
No, they didn't follow up the question in regards to how much so far. But Alaji has pushed, and the minister promised that he will definitely update the parliament of how much have been sold so far and how much have been identified as the new revelation that comes and how much has been generated in regards to the sale of this property. But he also made them to understand that they can visit what we call doubletrust.com. That's where they did the advertisement and everything, and all the prices of all these materials or the compounds are all there, and they have not been sold below that price. They have been always under that. So if you do that, you will definitely understand comparing the information that he gives to the National Assembly. So far, these are the issues that actually they talk about, but we might expect legal challenges from individuals that claims that they are the rightful owner. It was forcefully taken away from them.
What about the tractors that we are
Baba Batambedu of the department are proud of before Mr. Jallo will be appointed. In regards to that tractors, how much tractors were sold.
Can you remember?
I could not actually figure, but he told
but he said those were actually sold.
Yes, and I think people, it was a debate when I posted. People I said, how can you sold a tractor? And they went and Googled how a tractor was cost and the amount that it was sold. Actually, they see it as more of an auction rather than just.
If people criticize the idea of selling them, why not government? If government is retaining, every government is retaining. They try to retain some plots of land. Why tractors? Why not tractors?
Yeah. Some of these issues, sometimes we were looking at it as Jammeh's properties, but some of these properties were already handed to the people. I mean, and even the cows, even the animals. That's why I couldn't understand. I mean, why Kanilai end up becoming like an empty place where you had all the zoos and all those things. I mean,
wildlife. I think wildlife have taken over. Is
it as attractive? But for me, And I think Mr. Kexx raised one thing that is very important, and I think this has been, some of the victims, especially those that their properties were taken from them.
Yeah.
That's why I said that the issue of reparation is, is very critical.
But the former minister said it was only fair that monies that should be used to reparations come from Jamme's assets.
Of course.
He said 300 million has been kept somewhere, and 50 million was given
initially,
to the TRRC at the time initially, and he promised another 50 million, which never came. Which never came.
So, but
nobody knows what happened to the 300 million that he talked about that was laying in some accounts.
But for me,
perhaps Kexx and the National Assembly members will ask about.
But for me, the issue is also that it's not only about, selling the properties and also paying reparation, because some of these victims owe properties, and it was these properties that were also taken. I mean, the question is whether these properties would be returned to these victims so that it could serve as part of their
I know one particular case that Baba Job's property in Sanneh area that's proven to be very difficult for the family to get, because they were chased away by the police on the instruction of a new buyer.
So these are issues also that victims are saying that, of course, some of us owned properties before our properties were taken. As part of the rehealing process, return our properties to us. We know where they are. Return the properties to them.
So how did the House feel about this? Because obviously there are a lot of National Assembly members who are very sympathetic to Jammeh, or in fact who were not in agreement with any process that will lead to Jammeh losing his properties. How did they react to this?
We have a very divided parliament. That's the fact, and we must acknowledge that we have a parliament that is divided in terms of issues that comes before the parliament. When you talk about Jammeh, there are sections of parliamentarians that doesn't want to hear anything negative about Jammeh. Everything has to be positive about Jammeh, and I could remember even in a debate, some parliamentarian was talking about issues in regards to when this question was raised, a follow-up question, and there is this parliamentarian who just get up and said that, are you the one who was talking, because the person was a former supporter or sympathizer of Jammeh, so meaning that today you see the negative side of Jammeh, but when actually this is the right so we have some of the parliamentarians actually didn't take it lightly, and that's why when the issue of the economic came, Minister of Defense was questioned in regards to the presence of the economic force after 6 years. We are not in you could see the section of people feel like their purpose in this country is mainly to target a group of people or a region in the part of the country, and they were so defensive to look at the bigger picture of the presence of the economic rather than just look at that issue of in terms of Jammeh, the economic we are here purposely just to remove Jammeh from this country. That was the target, but not looking at the bigger picture that the country was heading to a war, and we need the intervention of the economic forces to come and help us, and I think it has paid dividend. And while they are here, this is not something that actually is upon the Gambian people to decide. Gambia is part of a body called ECOWAS, and ECOWAS is there to protect every member of their country, members.
One threat from somewhere can lead to threat
to everywhere. So when they see these things, they are obligated by their conventions to intervene and make sure that they maintain peace and order, and their intelligence will advise them anytime whether actually it is necessary to withdraw now or not, and sometimes they even transform them.
It's not very much or just the wish of President Barrow keep them.
I disagree. You see, I think.
No, but he has one point there. Some people could.
No, I agree with the reason why they are here, but the longevity for me, that's the problem.
Yeah, but then what he's trying to say, in some region, there are common interest groups as far as security is concerned. If the Gambia government is able to convince the ECOWAS that, look, there are still problems of insecurity. If these people withdraw, there can be problems that can lead to further problems. I know Kasama's problem is very much a regional problem now, and it's very much linked to what has been happening here. So all this could have convinced the regional body to support the president's or the government's intention to keep them here until as long as they feel.
For me, I like people doing the work when they are needed, and then leave the minute that the work is done. Because the longer
feel that they are no longer needed.
We do surveys, and you see 70%.
You this borough.
No, because it's the people. It's the people talking. So what the 78% of the population in 2018. It was divided. Gambians were divided as whether they should leave people, we should stay. But by 2021, almost 78% of the population feel like their time is over. And recently we have been doing a qualitative study where we travel across the country, and you see that it's still a debatable topic. But for me, my argument has always been that, by now, what this country needs to do is time to look at exit strategy for economic. Because the longer they stay, that's what the problem is gonna come. Like we were talking about Senegal, like the region has the right to feel like they've been bottled or they've been, put together where now, for the first time, the conflict is on Gambian soil. And it's not me living in Burusibi that is feeling that, it's the people that live there. And so when those people speak, it's about their lives, it's about their livelihood. When they speak about the dangers of such, they need to be listened to. And I feel that has been the missing part, because we felt, and I have complained about this. The minute that Jammeh left, everybody, what we did was, okay, let them control that. Oh, these people were supporting Jammeh. We don't care about that. What we should care about is that, our population is protected and that people are allowed to go. Whatever the politics is, whatever our disagreement is, the lives and properties of our people need to be protected first. And if we're entering into deals like this, economic, everybody knew how they contributed in this country. But the time is now that the conversation need to be looked at. When are they living?
When you and I, as Gambians, feel that they should go, as Kexx was suggesting, there are all a school of thought which believe that the problem is regional in dimension, and if you leave it to Gambian people alone, it might fly up in some sort of conflict that will always come back to the region again.
Sometimes like the question is, for me, I argued in 2018 that the way we are politicizing security sector reform is the reason perhaps why economic is still here.
Maybe security was itself politicized.
We politicize our security has always been politicized.
That's the problem.
We are not denying the fact that the military, a portion of them, the junglers, were used by Jammeh, but not the entire military. And when I make this argument, it's not popular because people want to feel, these are people that have been serving their country all over, and they need to be recognized. And I always argue that if our military, as we claim, the politician, if it was as bad as we claim, then we might not have had a country, because these are people with the weapons. But then the issue for me is like these are patriotic citizens that also want to contribute in their own country. But now if we are to, so they are not even the question, because the question of economic is a political question, and I think for me it has to be addressed politically. And that's what we need to do. But just to say, oh, they were here in 2016, this country was going. I had some of the arguments that they were making. You need things when you need them. When you don't need them, you look for other options. And right now, Gambia, we are sending peacekeepers across the world. That's not also the question. Oh, we are sending peacekeepers, therefore, we should receive peacekeepers. We are wasting people's money. If we feel, if the population trusts the army, like the military is one of the most trusted institutions in this country. And so taking ownership of our military, for me, I think is the next steps to, and having a strategy plan where economic need to exist. These are the conversations that we need to start having.
Like you said, it's very much political.
It's political.
And depending on who you talk to. If you talk to government officials, they'll say, well, this government is not secure without economic.
Because the problem is, you see, you have a civilian component and you have a military component. Where the military want to be professionals and do their work just as citizens. And you have politicians that want to control that because they feel, these things are...
because they are subject to civilian control, that's where the problem is.
But then the civilians are not doing what they are supposed to do. For me, that's the problem that I have. Like, why...
I think generally what we have here is... I don't think government is very comfortable in a situation where economic is not present. They are not assured of complete security. That's the bottom line.
Let them start thinking about the long term. But I'm also happy that recently there was this Armed Forces Council. Yesterday I had a debate, because sometimes that's what you need to do. You bring in the oversight mechanism, institutions, so that they can control. Those kind of aspects. What are the issues? For me, the biggest challenge with the military, the police, the security is the fact that they are most of their laws are old laws. Why not we reform them in line with the democratic law? For me, that's where the situation.
They would have been built on democratic principles. I think we have grown so much now that we should not think of coup d'etats and military operations.
I keep saying that in this country, nobody should even think about that. Anything, it will be resisted, and let them not even.
When you talk about from what we have learned from Gambia, from what we have learned from Jammes, Jammes military coup, I don't think even civilians will support military coups. So there's no reason.
There is clear evidence. In this country, you had about 90% saying elections. We want elections to elect our leaders.
Exactly.
90% are against, you have a high number of people against one-man rule, against military rule.
Exactly.
We ask this kind of question.
Yeah.
So if you are saying that you are doing things on behalf of the people, what you need to do is follow what the people want. As simple as that.
Your take on that. So some of the bills he's talking about, for example, the Jammeh properties and the economic thing he talk about.
Yeah, as for the Jammeh properties, the recommendations need to be scrutinized, and we need to discuss. We should just not, implement it as it is recommended, without subjecting it
to further consultation.
Where the need be, let's use the media and contributions.
But already from what we heard from Minister, bulk of what they've been recognized as his properties illegally obtained have been sold. It's not too late now.
Yeah, they have been sold, but in fact,
you talk about the cattle, you know about the cattle.
Yeah, and even the tractors. For me, I was handling a case against one of the properties.
Oh, really?
Of Jammeh. Defending a worker.
Oh, who claimed it?
Yeah, but yet still that case cannot be judged because simply there was a court order that the properties of Jammeh should not be sold.
Okay,
I have to go to the sheriff division.
But I think the government warned
that document.
No, I think the government won an appeal now to continue selling. I don't know whether they've started that, but they won an appeal that they could continue. Okay, finally, what order?
Yes, just for because I don't know maybe if these people, because the anti-corruption bill so far, it is the bill that has gone so far, almost at the tail end of it to be passed, because this has been a demand from the Gambian people putting into consideration so many alleged corrupt practices that have been going. And let's go into the recommendation. We debate if it is going from there, whether the president, how do you appoint the commission? According to the bill itself, they are saying that the president will appoint the commission through the consultation of the Public Service Commission. This is what the intent of the bill. The Minister of Justice, that's what he wants. But the Parliament is saying there are disagreement with that. The Parliament is saying that okay, the president will have the power to appoint, but subject to the confirmation or scrutiny of the National Assembly, vetting to find out actually whether this person is capable, looking at his impartialities, his background, his political affiliations, and other things. So, and this will be a debate because you have a divided parliament. So if there are people that actually, whatever comes from the parliament, actually for them that's where what comes from. So this will be subject to a debate. So what do we think among the two, subject to the consultation with the Public Service Commission that is under the government that is bringing this bill, or it has to be vetted by the National Assembly, or we can have an independent body? I think these are factors that we have to debate prior to before we reach at this stage, so that at least they have a public opinion in regards to this thing, and our members can actually pick this because at the end of the day they are our voices. So they want what we want, that's what they should take to the parliament. So what do we want? The commission to be appointed by the president, through the public, or through the National Assembly, the people representative?
I see.
For me, I think the National Assembly should have a role because then the independence, but also more of the job security, just the composition of the composition. And so for me, the National Assembly, definitely they should have a role in that.
They should have a role in that because they are there for us. We elected them, and whatever they decide on our behalf. And for that matter, I believe that the National Assembly should be given priority.
Good. Finally, did they talk about security? Because all these days, like we said, finally on this program topic is the problem about insecurity or security, whether you like, whatever you put it. People are getting killed in manners that the police has said they are worried about, but then they blame, the prevalence of it, materials such as drugs and etc. They believe that can only be the driving force. behind this violence, senseless violence. Did this topic reach the parliament? I have some National Assembly criticizing the president for not talking about that in his State of the Nation address.
Yeah, actually, the Minister of Interior was actually there, and this supplementary question came because it is linked to security, and one of the members asked him about the high rate of crimes in this country and what is the government intention to do. And he made reference of the zero crime operation that was launched by the police, and you have this joint officers patrol that they have been doing in terms of to limit or make sure that they stop all these criminal activities that are actually coming. So he made reference, but is that enough? Is the question that we should ask, because with the launching of even that zero crime and the patrol of does it stop the crime rate that is happening in the country? What needs to be done? You know, for me, I believe there must be a study because most of the time it happens within the youth sector of the society. What is the problem? There must be a concrete study to examine. You know, here this is what is actually lacking in this country. Problem will happen, and we just solve the problem. Just we solve it and we are done with it. We gone, and next time again it repeat itself, and we go there, we attacking. But you don't investigate and look at the root cause of the problem actually. And I think that's important for us to make a study why the young people are involved into the petty crimes, you know, robbery, fighting, snapping each other. What is the problem? And this can be all sectors, National Assembly, society, civil society, all of us can do this study and at least have an idea so that we can draft a policy or draft a law that will definitely help this. If it is in terms of lack of unemployment, then we can able to create the employment for the young people in this country so that they will be engaged, because you see the amount of people that are just loose in this society. They just walk loitering in the street from morning up to afternoon, and they just go night. You see people because they have nothing to be engaged in. So there are issues that we have to look at, not only have a force like you know, the security force just to go and just attack these people at their voice and other things. Maybe it is beyond that. You know, there's a push factor that is pushing them. So let's look at that push factor. So I think it is important. But they have actually said that they have launched some of the mechanism in place to reduce the crime rate. But for me, it's not solving the problem, because it is more increasing every day. Like within a period of 1 week, we have 6 murder cases. So then that tells you that the zero
crime. When the
crime.
police themselves said it is drugs that's happening, and they are the ones who really were the first point of contact when drugs sort of enter the country, and then we have a problem.
I mean, for me, I think, I mean, is beyond that. You see, you talk about unemployment. You are talking about almost half of our population, 42% of young people unemployed. I mean, what kind of society are you expecting in that? In that, I mean, you have all these things because people will always learn ways of surviving. That's why we see criminality increasing. We see a lot of things. I mean, the solution, both the short and long-term solution in this problem is, you know, how do we address the job market for the young people? And interestingly, I mean, Kexx talked about the need to do a study. For me, I've been following the murder cases. We are talking about drugs, but then look at some of the murders. There are people that are very close to each other. They either know each other or so. Like it is within community.
But the spokesman said that's what they call. He said those are domestic, meaning they didn't happen at open places where police was supposed to stop them.
And so it is within, and it is very difficult for the police to do that. But for me, imagine that. I mean, today we are talking about young people in the ghetto. Young people, I mean, they have work. They go and do their work. There will be less time for the ghetto because people want to survive in this country. And how do you create that environment? For me, that is the way. It's not about, okay, we're gonna put more police in the streets. We're gonna do all that. Sometimes we counter, and the thing that we haven't accepted in this country is that our society is changing. It's evolving. Today, everybody is talking about electricity. We want telephone. We want so many new things.
All those desires,
consumption. Things are changing, and that's what we need to recognize. And when things are changing, how do you plan ahead? But we have not. Now we're just waiting, everything doubling up. People will leave university, will leave school, they will not find jobs. I mean, either if they cannot migrate, they have to stay, and they have to survive. How do we address that question? For me, that is where the long-term
solution is. Why do you think homicide cases are many people killing each other?
Well, anyway, when I was doing my studies in political science, our professor asked a question. What problem did poverty cause in society? I was the first person to raise my hand next to Victoria.
How did you answer that?
I answered that, and what does poverty create?
So you answered with another question.
So yes, he said first, yes, what it creates is all the same. Then go ahead with your contribution. So it will create envy, jealousy, you understand? Criminals, prostitution, name it, all sorts of crimes that poverty may cause because we need to survive. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay. When I finished my contribution, he told me that two things have different meanings. Never use the word criminal in political science or sociology. He said use innovator.
Innovator?
Yes, because the person was innovated by the system.
I see.
Poverty, change.
The man from a good person to a criminal.
Because no one is born to lose. No one is born a criminal.
Yes.
He said the prostitute, don't call her a prostitute, call him a deviance. She deviated.
He deviated.
She knows what I am doing is not good, but I can help it. I need to survive and I have myself. So this is my answer to
Interesting. Well, thank you very much, Garba Cham of the Gambia Workers Union, Sait Matty from the University of Gambia, and Kexx, of course, our friend, journalist and activist. But there's one question, and I want to end it. Sait Matty, people will chain me if I don't ask you to say a few words. How did you get your passport seized at the airport?
Well, for me, I think the answer is simple. I'm protesting. I'm protesting against a system that I feel is not right. I'm protesting against a system that I feel is injustice. I mean, I have no problem of paying to move my country, but I feel what we are paying for is not coming to us. Instead, it is a bad deal, bad contract that is going somewhere else, and I need answers. That's why I'm willing to sacrifice my passport so that I can get those answers. For me, that's what it is. I'm protesting.
So you cannot travel now, well, at least by air. What are you intending to do?
Well, I'm going. I'll be traveling. I have my ID card. I'm going to Senegal. You
cannot fly with that.
Well, I'm going to Senegal. So if they stop me, they stop me again. If not, I'll have to go. But I'm protesting, and that's.
No, you are not using the airport now, so you will not be stopped.
I will. Maybe if I'm going, I will use the back door. but the message for me is that. Is that we need to start thinking about the bad deals that we are making for this country, and we need to start thinking about the future generation of this country, because at the end of the day we pay in $20,000. It's small money, but at the end of the day we are talking about losing 270 million, and we are talking about jobs, we are talking about crime, we are talking about all these things, and yet we willingly allow our monies to be taken just like that in the name of airport security. For me, I feel it is unjust. And it needs to be addressed.
There you go, Sait Matty versus the immigration. About this.
Well, I don't immigration. For me, my system is the exploitation. Well, they have it. I left it with them, but I want to be. They treated me very nice, but at the end of the day, they refused to return my passport. For me, the struggle is not with them again, but it's the system. And for me, I feel like they're the one helping enforce the system, and that's why they are here. But immigration, they are my. They are my.
No, for me, I definitely support his position. I definitely.
Open a whole Pandora's box. What did the company itself say? He said that kind of thing is now creating an impasse. Refusing to pay.
For this, I will ask you one question regarding of Sait Matty's passport. Is this a right? Is this a law to seize somebody's property? Because the passport is the property of Sait Matty. Should it be seized without being prosecuted to court of law?
The passport itself also says it's property of the state, and it can be seized depending on the circumstances.
But based on law.
Circumstances. Based on law. So that's what we're going to argue.
Not by a court of law.
But now the question is, I use seize, but they're saying it's taken. So I don't know what the English language is. So for me, I use seize because it was supposed to be
it's taking or seize. It's not with him anyway. Thank you very much, gentlemen. When we come back, we will meet the executive committee members of 3G GAM, and they will talk about their activities, which is now 5 years old. So the brunch will be back. Don't go away.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Welcome back to the brunch on Kerr Fatou Live. Now, as promised, we take our attention to an organization which calls itself 3D GAM. That is determination or decision or destiny. We will find out from the members of the executive committee who are planning to launch a strategic plan. With me in the studio are two gentlemen from this organization. I'll allow them to introduce themselves and then the organization and the activities that have been planned at the end of this month. Yes, welcome, gentlemen. Let me start with you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cham, for having us here. My name is Lamin Sediba, the head of projects and national operation for 3D GAM.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Mr. Cham, for having us in this afternoon. We very much appreciate you for the time accorded to us to talk about 3D and also the activities that 3D have been doing in the Gambia and our approaching launching, that is our strategic plan. So I am Mr. Alassane Ba, the country head for 3D GAM and 3D Global.
Fantastic. Yeah. Let me play the devil's advocate. I don't know anything about this 3D GAM, only that I know that these three of them stands for, well, for something, determination or determine or decision and destiny. Tell us, how do you combine the concept 3D and what does it mean? What does this D3 stand for?
Yes, brilliant. I think that is a very fantastic question, and most will want to know what is 3D and what it stands for. As you can see, the 3 and as well as the D, there I think it has a meaning that if not interpreted to the public, they might not understand.
Exactly.
So 3D means decision determine destiny. Those determine destiny. Or the decisions that you take, we know that destiny is in the hand of Allah, but our actions, yes, our actions also determine what we become tomorrow.
Okay.
We are as human beings. So decision determine destiny. That is the meaning of 3D, and that is what it stands for.
So decision, in simple language, decision determines destiny.
Yeah, determine destiny. That is the meaning of 3D. It is an acronym, but that is the meaning. So 3D was founded in 2017, 29 of September. Yes, it was founded, and it is founded by a Gambian-based UK. That is Amadou Marong, who has passion for this country, has love for this country, and he believes that he can come back to the Gambia and deliver even in absentia. That so he founded this organization and has his own people who are running the foundation here and making sure that this foundation excels and it benefits the lives of the people, mostly or especially those that are in the rural Gambia and they are advantaged people in the community, disadvantaged people in the community rather.
Good.
So 3D is targeting mostly these people in the society, a segment of people in the society who we believe are disadvantaged people and they need humanitarian supports from people that are carrying out their activities in the purpose of humanity or for the purpose of humanity.
So once you identify these things, 3G, what next? In which areas do you help these underprivileged people? And in which areas do you integrate them into your program? Mr. Sediba.
Thank you very much. First, 3D started as an advocacy group.
Okay.
Most of the activities that they have conducted before were based on advocacy.
Okay.
These they have done with schools in terms of human rights education and dramas. They have done these dramas even at GRTS where it was viewed by the Gambians. Schools took part in competition where award winners were given precious awards. Again, in the form of drug enlightenment, they also do with schools, and they have signed MOU with different ministries. They visited so many ministries and have discussions with many of them, especially the Ministry of Youth and Sports. We also signed an MOU with them. Then with Ministry of Education as well. That is why we are able to cover more than 100 schools in terms of human rights education and also the drug enlightenment program. Yeah. So these we have done in schools, and we have last week, we just visited the army, the head of the army, and we had a very warm welcome by the heads, that is from the CDS to most of his staff. And
what message did you bring to?
No, we just wanted to deliver the human rights materials that we have, and also the drug enlightenment materials. We have some pamphlets and books on drugs and human rights issues that we wanted to share with them. So basically, this is what we have been doing, and the most important thing is people in 3D are connected as a family.
I see.
We do everything in common. If you have bereavement, you think the entire 3D is bereaved.
I see.
You know, those that are here in the diaspora, anywhere, that are part of 3D, you think they are even with you at the time of your bereavement. If you have celebrities, for example, you have a naming ceremony, you have wedding, you think we are together with you there, because we do everything in common. So this oneness, the ties between the people in 3D is very unique. You can hardly find it in many of the organizations. Definitely organizations and NGOs operate, but that link of having a common understanding and to serve as one person in one body, that's very, very rare. So 3D has established that across the world.
And that's 5 years since then. He talked about areas you have operated on and stuff like that. You're talking about launching a new strategic plan. Is it a new strategic plan, or this is ideas you have or experiences you have to get and you build them now into new ideas that you're going to work?
Yes, as he just highlighted, that we have been operating since the inception of the organization, and we have collaborated with many institutions, and we still have these collaborations alive with them. So, you know, every organization needs improvement, and we believe, you know, 3D has to get a comprehensive roadmap that they are going to use to carry out their activities. But you know, plans are very important, because when we don't plan, we failed. And there is that necessity as an organization that is aspiring to grow and also, you know, improve the lives of the people, to come up with a blueprint that is going to be the guiding light of the organization and help them achieve their activities in priorities. 3D has this. Now we have formulated our strategic plan that we will want to be using in the next 5 years. And there we have already got our set goals. This is what we want to achieve in this period. Maybe this year we want to achieve this. The next year we want to achieve this. Yes, the following year we want to achieve this. And as it goes, that you will see now your set goals are now been achieved, or you are able to assess yourself whether you have achieved them or you do not have achieved them. But if you do not have a comprehensive plan or a very concrete plan that you put in place, you know, you just carry out activities spontaneously, and that is not going to help you. So assessment is very important. So this is why we decided to come up with the strategic plan that is going to help us in our endeavor in our endeavor in improving the lives of the people, especially the disadvantaged people.
Are we going to involve new areas of activity beyond human rights and drug awareness program?
Yes, very well.
Which other areas?
Yes, we want to make sure that youths are involved in this. We understand that even with drugs, youths are involved, because, you know, most of the time we know that it's youths that are facing the problem or the consequences of drug abuse. And human rights also is also very important. But, you know, we also want to go or diversify our activities by making sure that we have skill centers where youths are going to be educated. We empower them, that is empowering their minds. Because when you want to make somebody successful, empowered in minds that the person is going to use to become successful. That is in the plant. And empowering women through horticultural production is also there, poultry, and as well as many other activities that we are going to focus on. But this is, you are going to get an in-depth explanation or an in-depth insights of this when we have the strategic plan launching on that day. Come on Thursday, inshallah, on the 29th of September. which is going to coincide with the commemorations of 3D. And we're going to explain a lot about 3D and what 3D stands for and what is the purpose of the strategic plan, which we believe it is very important as an organization to have a very clear-cut objective and strategy that is going to be the guide.
Launching take place?
Thank you. The launching will be at YMCA.
YMCA, yes.
Yes, just opposite MDI. And we have invited so many institutions and organizations that we feel we could collaborate with to do our future work.
Okay.
Mr. Cham, 3D will be very much surprised that there is hardly any health center or a health setting in this country where we did not put in a drug or facilities. Yes.
Okay.
Right from here downwards to the up countries.
I mean, through your advocacy, you've been able to mobilize.
Yes, because we had a partner through a very good Gambian, also a Samaritan, Mr. Batch, and through him he has a collaboration with our chairman, that is Mr. Maron, who was the founder of 3D, of course. Then they are able to mobilize some medical facilities, and that we have distributed to the entire country, the length and breadth of the country almost. So this was done last year and year before last.
Okay.
So you would be very much surprised to know that there is hardly any health center in this country where from those deals. So at least 3D is being recognized, even at our doorstep, very close to us. It is because the activity of the organization is not being noticed by many, but many are benefiting from it, simply because we have.
And interestingly, on what he is saying, like you'll be surprised to know that 3D has only one source of funding.
I was going to ask for
yes, one source of funding, and that is an individual who I just mentioned here. That is Amaru Marong, who believes that he can give back to the Gambia even in absentia. That he is the one that is sponsoring all the activities of 3D GAM, together with other philanthropists that are also, stepping.
So I was going to ask, did you find collaborators among local and institutional and international organizations that may share the goals and the program?
Yes, exactly. This is what brings about the strategic plan. Now, with that strategic plan, and when we have it and we clearly spelled out our activities or our plans that we want to achieve in the period that is set, that you see, then we can go to notable institutions like the UNDP and many other institutions that we can collaborate with in helping us in finance and as well as in other resource materials that we can use to improve the lives of those people, because this is a very genuine cause, and I believe it is a godly cause that we are undertaking, and I believe whoever sees it will understand that these people have a very perfect idea for humanity. I am not benefiting anything from 3D, but there are other people that are benefiting from 3D. I am a member of 3D, but those that that 3D has been benefiting for a long time, they benefit more than me. I am a volunteer right now. I call myself a humanist, that who is trying to improve the lives of the people. Because improving others, they said, you have to make sure that the lives of others are improved first before yours is improved. And the bigger boss is going to pay you, and that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Now I hear 3D Gambia and global. Can you enlighten me? When you say global, have you gone global, or do you have intentions to go global, or you have international, a global body that you are linked with?
Yes, we have 3D GAM and 3D Global.
Yes.
Now, global in this perspective, we have people that are outside the Gambia, who are in Asia, others are in Europe, others are in America, others are also in other parts in Africa, and in simple language, you can call it a global organization, because it involves all the 5 continents or 7 continents per se that are existing in this world. In every part of the world, 3D members are found. So we have the confidence to say that 3D GAM and 3D Global, because the one that is the founder right now, he's not in Africa, he's in Europe. He's in Europe, and others are in America, others are in Australia, others are in Russia.
So in other words, you have an ambition to export the 3G idea and program.
Not only that, what happened is, like for example, we have the global one, there are more international people in the global organization than in the Gambia. For example, if we have bereavement in the Gambia here, it is only 3D GAM that will know there is bereavement. Because what will happen is they will say we are not coming here on the other platform, that is on the 3D international, 3D global. We are not going there today because we have bereavement, and we are going to do it in a Gambian way. So in that way, everybody in the Gambia or whoever is a Gambian and is in 3D GAM will start writing, to send his condolence or whatever it may be. So this is why globally, yes, we have the global idea of globalizing, making it global for 3D. Exactly. But the Gambian one is purely that we are representing here as Gambians. Those that are here and abroad, Gambians that are abroad are also part of the 3D GAM, and we are doing things together to move this.
I mean, this is a very promising, vibrant advocacy group. That you admitted many people didn't know much about. How are you now going to work in a manner that you think that will effectively bring you attention, both in terms of recognition from the government and institutions I talk about who might share your programs and then get involved in sponsoring your projects or even helping you research, etc., things like that?
Yes, I think this is a step towards achieving that. Like we have in a program here, and I believe people are viewing the program. And again, our strategic launchings, we have invited reputable institutions to come and attend the program. And the media, which is a tool of exposing activities, is going to help us in getting this. And all these medias that are in the Gambia, we're targeting about 15 medias in the Gambia who are going to be present on the day of the launching.
Yeah, which is Thursday.
Yes, which is going to be next Thursday, on the 29th of this month. The media is going to help us in selling the agenda and as well as the activities of 3D. And whatever we want to do, we want to make sure that the media is present. It's just that when other people are not very keenly interested in media, but all our activities has been aired. We have been airing our activities on GRTS and even on your standard newspaper.
Yeah, we've covered it.
So I believe 3D is not a strange idea to the Gambian that is very keen on following the media. Yeah, I don't think. I think involving the media is going to help us a great deal, or in a great deal in making sure that our agenda and as well as the philosophy, which is a plain progressive one, is understood by even the layman in the Gambian street.
So how would they look like, the program looks like on the day? I mean, when all the invitees are settled at the YMCA on Thursday, how will the program look like? You're going to have a straight away delivery of your programs, or are you going to have engagement separately with people who come, or you are going to involve people to come and take part? How are they going to participate?
Yeah, what we want to do is on that day we want a colorful ceremony. By that I mean the invitees will be seated and there will be presentations.
Exactly. That's what
the strategy will be presented, and also there will be speakers. Which will have people that will come that knows a little about 3D, or they know very well 3D, what 3D stands for since its inception. So those people will come and give lectures on 3D. So that means people that may come to attend that program will have the foresight knowledge of about 3D.
How about the government of the day?
I think
how have you been collaborating?
I think the 3D have done a lot.
You mentioned the ministry.
Yes, very well. What happened is, first we have taken a step to register as an NGO. That alone is government recognition. Thereafter, we are also collaborating with most of their institutions. For example, I told you here, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Youth and Sport. So all these we have signed MOU with. I think we are well known at the government level. Yes, and again, as I told you last time, we met the military, and we are planning to meet the police and also the drug enforcement agency we wanted to meet. So these are not only what is enshrined in our document. The document is a big one, and it entails a lot. And we are hoping that we'll have collaborators and we'll work with so many other institutions that could finance or help in whatever aspect they can to make sure we realize those dreams. These are dreams that the people in the Gambia that are in 3D come together to develop and also sell it to the founder who finalize the document, and that's the document we are launching.
Finally, how does the structure look like? I know you people are.
Yeah, and the other thing, like getting the attention of the government in this strategic plan launching. On Thursday, I was roaming within the combos to distribute letters to institutions. We have invited many ministries in the government.
Good.
And I believe inviting ministries means inviting the government to come, because those that are working in the ministries are the ones that are in the government. So I don't think we are going to shy away, or our attention is going to be hijacked, or is going to be hidden from the government, since we are inviting government officials to come and grace these occasions. And hopefully even ministers are going to be there to organize the occasions of the luncheon. Yeah.
Good. I talk about structure finally. I mean, if somebody is in Basse or in Mansakonko and really say I love the ideas, 3D gammas, and probably is thinking of popularizing the idea there or advocation. How do you have a structure at the regional levels, or is it just a national office?
Yes, 3D has a structure, an administrative structure, where we have the Homeland General, that is myself.
And I'm curious about this kind of titles you come out. I mean,
yes.
Homeland General.
Yeah, Homeland General. These are not titles that are very active, that are very
unique
easy.
Titles. So you care about Homeland General.
Homeland General.
What is the other title?
Yeah, there are criteria that you have to fulfill before you can be accorded this title. We have eagles, we have we have comrades, you have honorables, and almost everybody in 3D, especially in the 3D cabinets, is a honorable member, because there are criteria that we are going to observe that if you fulfill those ones, then you are going to be accorded that title. And meritoriously, we achieve those titles. Yes.
So
and
if you have Homeland Generals, eagles, and state, a layman somewhere, say, what kind of organization?
Yes, exactly. This is why
square type of names.
Yes, it was even a question that was asked when we went to the defense headquarters.
I'm not surprised if they didn't call NIA.
No.
If you address yourself like that.
One of them said the MA to the chief of defense staff said, Mr. Ba, you have to explain how you achieve or how you get your this title. I told him anyway.
Absolutely.
I think that is a session that you need to organize. He asked that questions. I told him anyway. We achieve these titles based on merits.
I see.
Yes, 3D is not just a foundation that favoritism is there, preferential treatments is there. No, you achieve things based on merits. This is why we said we are apolitical. We are not interested in tribal things. We are not interested in religious things. What we are interested in is humanity.
Yeah.
So we have a structure. We have a cabinet that's where we have about 29 executives, and we have regional representatives that when you need 3D in anywhere in the Gambia, we can link you to those people, and you have what you want with 3D. But the cadre, that is the political structure, or the structure of the organization, starts with the Homeland General in the Gambia here. But we have the chairman, that is Amadou Marong. But the highest authority in the Gambia is the Homeland General.
And that's Alassane Ba.
Yeah, and that is myself, Alassane Ba.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. So the day is Thursday, the 29th.
Yes, the 29th.
At the YMCA, that's near the University of the Gambia, and near Giartes Road, that's right. So if you are over there and you are really a head of an institution or working for humanity or even for government or individual organization, and you are interested in the lofty ideas that 3D Gambia has, which, to sum it up, they said, decisions determines destiny. So hence 3D Gambia. So be there in full force on the 29th at the YMCA
at 10 o'clock.
At 10 o'clock in the morning, as they launch the strategic plan for the coming years. Congratulations, Mr. Ba and Sedi Ba.
Thank you.
For coming on the brunch. We will promise we will be there to cover this important program. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Lamin Cham. We appreciate this humanistic gesture that you have accorded to us.
Thank you.
And we hope to see you there. Inshallah. Come that day, inshallah.
And long live 3D Gang.
Thank you. God bless you. All right.
We live in a day and age where technology is creating a world without borders, filled with unlimited potential to improve the lives of the people around us. Innovarex Global Health ushers in a new way of leveling the playing field with increased access to quality healthcare services delivered at your doorstep. Our qualified professionals are equipped with state-of-the-art point-of-care testing technology to conduct tests such as kidney function, liver function, electrolyte tests, body composition, hemoglobin, A1C, and many more services with the highest efficiency in delivering results. The addition to our flagship Wellness on Wheels, more fondly known as WOW Delivery Service, brings the entire clinical experience full circle. IGH has remained committed to creating the future of healthcare delivery. Gone are the days of sending loved ones outside the country for basic medical services. Innovarex Global Health offers a new peace of mind and takes pride in delivering the quality of care we all deserve.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.